the Alliance of Sahel States actually started off rebelling. I don't know if that's the right word, but they wanted out of ECOWAS, and it looks like their request has been granted. The next, it says at least 18 killed after a small plane crashes in a remote part of South Sudan. That's not a very good one. That's not a very good one. So aside the road accidents, we also need to be very careful wherever if you're in charge of people, I mean, on sea, on land, in the air, you want to be extra careful. Egypt and Kenya bolster ties and signs agreements. Is that for a good cause? I think it is. That's Africa going forward, Egypt and Kenya showing us the way. Kenyan farmers file court case against seed sharing ban. Seed sharing ban. So Kenyan farmers file court case against seed sharing ban. Next story, please. All right, so that's it by way of Wake Up Buzz, seed sharing ban, and I think I need to really look straight into that. Now, how about we go for a short break, and then when we get back, we'll get into the real discussions.
DStv, and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in, but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale.
Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home entertainment. DStv.
It's good to be with you, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the 5 series of some of my books that have been released. The Bible said, you err because you know not the scriptures. There is something about having understanding through the study of the books. This book, Beyond the Valley, that deals with mastering of faith, the mastering of the test of love and the test of character and the test of faith I believe will impact your life. So many people struggle at place of the valley, at the valley. But the valley is not a bad place to be. Whenever you find your place at the valley, realize the next place after the valley is your journey to the top of the mountain. There is no way you can climb a hill or a mountain in life without going through the valley. So when you find yourself right at the place of a valley, it's an indication that you are bound to begin your journey of climbing the mountain or the hill. And so never be afraid when you find yourself in the valley. Every now and then, before you climb a mountain, you will go through a valley. And the valley is part of the process that we all have to go through before we get to the top of the mountain. And so if you are in a valley in your life right now, don't be afraid, don't be despair. For the prophet said the other day, he said, my enemy, rejoice not over me, for when I fall, I will rise again. Most times when you are down in the valley, it's like that is the end of it, but it's not. That is just beginning. You will rise and you will begin from where you are and climb. So get beyond the veil, the test of faith, love, and of character. To impact your life, it will give you keys to longevity. God bless you.
Okay. Welcome back. Now let's get on with the news review. Today we're going to be touching on some issues that has happened over the week. And joining us via Zoom, we should have Reverend Xavier Demoji. He's a clinical engineer, head of biomedical department at Lekma Hospital, and then an associate pastor at Teshi East Branch Action Chapel. And then also we should be having Mr. Gabson Ebenezer. He's at UPSA and Grasek Secretary. So if they are here with us, good morning. Good morning, Reverend Xavier. All right, and then Mr. Gabson. Good morning, Mr. Gabson. Great, good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope all is well.
You also.
Okay, all right. So let's start off with the issues. First off, let me take your mind on the vetting processes that have been going on with the vetting committee, all of the vettings that have gone on so far. What's your general take on the process and then the outcome? Let me start off with Reverend Xavier.
Yeah, good morning to all viewers of Dominion Television. We thank God for this great medium to connect to you through your homes and wherever you are. On my view of the appointment committee and the vetting of people for various positions, I think it'd be smooth to have done and all that they have done over the years to merit whatever position they are being appointed for. To me, I think our country is in a very critical position that we need leaders that are self-led and people that can really manage affairs, not based on political affiliation, but based on their capacity and what they can do to move this country to the next level. So for me, so far, so good. Looking at all that have transpired so far, it gives a lot of education to us that are upcoming, just to be careful about how we live our life. Though, looking at the committee, sometimes they have to even prune back their early ages, some of the statements they made, some of the errors they made. So I think it's very encouraging, and I just hope that those have been
Much. Let me tell your take on that, Gabson. Is it Gabson? Let me get that right. Gabson.
It's Gabson.
Gabson. Yeah, that's a great pronunciation. Great, take us away.
Thank you very much. I bring you warm greetings from PSA Grasak, and I think with the vetting, it's a very nice exercise. It's time for the country to even more advanced discussion about even when somebody is being appointed. He comes in, he speaks whatever he wants to talk about, or his plans or the government policies, and what he has to do or his quota to provide the best for the country. I think it's a step in the right direction. Going forward, I believe that we need more of these things, even to the level of the CEOs and the MMDCs, because we need to hold some of these people accountable. It is about time that we have to even vet these kind of people who we appoint to give clarity on what they are going to do when they are being given the mandate. And I think that the vetting so far so good. It's a very nice opportunity to also learn from some of us. We are also following it keenly and also learning day in, day out. Thank you very much.
That's great. All right, let's get on with the stories. The very first thing I want us to touch on is government's attempt to terminate Palugu Dam contract. That's a very, very, very important project that helps in the northern region because of agric purposes. Now, touching on the story, it says the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, has announced the government's intention to terminate the contract awarded for construction of the Palugu Dam. Now, the government in 2019 initiated a $993 million contract to build the Palugu multi-purpose dam in the Talensi district of the Upper East region. Now, this project was expected to feature a hydro-solar hybrid system of 60 megawatts of hydropower and 50 megawatts of solar power. But most importantly, to absorb spilled water from Gagri to address the perennial flooding up north and boost irrigation. So ideally, this project is supposed to help with irrigation and with all the Palugu, because so 199 million has to just be in the middle of it. What story? Is this a necessary?
Wow.
So let me start with you, Reverend.
Well, thank you so much. I think, to me, it's a very good project that will really help the people in the northern sector with all the infrastructure needs. But if it's, I think doing right, we shouldn't do right things the wrong way. If the government has come out with ways that this project is really will cause financial loss to the state, and they have seen a need to abrogate contracts, I think it's a very good measure, even though it will one way or the other affect the people living in that community. To me, it should be reviewed. The terms of the contract should be reviewed to see the lapses and whatever is happening. But the contract should be looked at, and it's a good project. I think this new government should take it up and see how they can do it to benefit the community. It's a good thing, but I don't think we should waste our state resources on things that we think are good, that the other financial or other funds can be used for other things. So it should be looked at. It's not just, I don't think anyone would just stand up and abrogate a contract, knowing very well the merits and the advantages that it will cause to the community.
Yes, but
so,
Rev, this we're talking about 993 million. Which is already some papers, some administrative monies have gone on. So that's some loss to state.
Yeah. It's true, there's some losses because before this contract have been signed, they already prevented things that have been done. But I think it's a step in a good direction, so as to, to me, even though it's a good contract, whatever benefit it will cause to the community, we shouldn't waste the resources of the country on things that are even beneficial, because looking at the amount involved, that can build hospitals, that can build schools, that can do a lot of things. But the term involved is just, to my candid opinion, I think it's just too much.
Okay. Ebenezer, what would you have to say about this? I am quite worried also because last year we had a surge there was a drought, and that affected, it touched on our food security. The drought affected us so much so that was when we realized that the country needed an irrigation system. We couldn't even sustain an irrigation system. And so the act of nature had to actually take us 2 steps back agriculturally. So that's why this Palugu Dam is such a pivotal point. So Ebenezer, what do you think about abrogating this contract?
Thank you very much. I believe that the managers and the country of the people, or the people who came together to draft this contract, the exchange of government. So basically, we are going to have government reviewing certain contracts and also abrogating some of these contracts. But we should also look at the bigger picture. Now, what's the bigger picture? Is the purpose for that project, is it good? Is it going to help people? If it is a yes, then we should not abrogate it. We should rather come down, sit together with these people who have contracts with the government, the contractors. We should sit down with them. Government should sit down with them. Let's have a review. As the project is ongoing, we could equally review these contracts, because the moment we decide to cancel this contract and give it to a new person, where the person has already started, the new person is not going to be able to pick it up that same way he had, the old guy who is doing it has started with. So we should rather sit, the government is supposed to sit with the contractor. Okay, you are taking maybe $90 million. It is too much. We feel that based on one or two things, let us review the contract. Let's cut costs. Where do we think that it is needed that we should cut it out of the contract? Let's agree. But abrogating it would not be a good thing for the country, because as you rightly said, the number of irrigations that are there are very minimal. So abrogating certain things like these would also go a long way to affect our food bank.
Great.
We should also sit down and reconsider all these things before. We should also not be in, because there are certain things over the period generate a lot of will minimize hardship in the country. The key thing is food production. The level of food production in the country is very, very low. People are importing a lot of food product into the country. So if there is a means of the country producing more food stuff, why not encourage it? Why not put in more resources than rather cramp it out of system? So we are hoping, yes, they have abrogated the contract, but we are hoping that in the earliest time they would come back and agree with some terms and conditions, so that the contractors would go back to site and make sure that they finish up quickly. If it is a year span that is too long, let us agree, because maybe because of the fact that the years are too long, that is why the money is too much. So let's government sit down quickly and agree on certain terms and review the contract to suit the certain government. Right. To make sure that these things are done properly. That's what I feel. This is how I see it.
Great. A great submission there. I also think that I just really am hoping that it's not a political gimmick, so that, I mean, these people started this contract and then they gave it to the person that they want, and so it doesn't have to continue with him because there's a new government. There should be a national agenda of how to approach these things, so that it is Ghana first. It's not a political way of going about things. But moving on, there's been a leaked tape, criminal charges against Ofosu Ampofo and Kweku Boahen have been dropped court for a very long time, been about two years, I think. It says that the Attorney General Ayine announced the decision, effectively ending a legal battle that had been ongoing since December 2019. So the government has run all criminal charges. Former National Democratic Congress ND Chairman Samuel Owusu Ampofo and the party's communications officer Anthony Kweku Boahen, and the two had been in trial by leaked audio in which Ofosu Ampofo was allegedly heard discussing plans to incite violence and create instability in the country. Does this not directly political? Doesn't it look like, okay, my government is in a position, I have to clear away so that my people, or is it that they looked at the real issues, dealing with it? Reverend, what do you have to say about this? Is it a good?
It's amazing how things are turning as a result of transition, of change of government.
Yeah.
To me, some of the statements that they made were very serious statements, and for them to be drawn to the court, it's something that could have caused a lot of chaos in the country. The question is, why was the case dropped? Were they found out that the charges that were levied against them were wrong? If that is the case, fine. But if it is as a result of political affiliation or because they belong to one party that or other, that is why they are being released of the charges, then I think that is very bad. That would not is not very encouraging for our politics. I think people who have done wrong things should be accountable for whatever they have done.
Exactly.
And it will serve as deterrent to not just anywhere and make any. So to me, if the charges were positive, and that is very bad, but it is just an allegation. The court found it that it's against them and all evidence, they didn't really make it. And I think it's
right. But Eben, can you touch on that quickly before we begin to get on the next story?
Well, okay. First of all, I believe that it is time for the country, as you rightly said, to pick up a national agenda. And the national agenda is that such issues like this should be addressed nationally. We should all put away party sentiment and make sure that the right things are done. I, in my opinion, would have felt that government should have gone on with the process. Let these people clear their names. In future, people will go back and pick up these documents or these leaked tapes and come back and hunt them and let the people come back to court again. Why not give them these people the opportunity to clear their names in court? But the moment you go on and say that, okay, we are not proceeding with court again, which means the case still lingers. People would come back. You see, I happen to have friends who are reading law, and so far as this docket has not been cleared or this issue has not been cleared, people can go back to court and go and handle or bring back this case. So the best thing government should have done, or the Attorney General should have done, should have been probably make sure that they go to court. Names of these people are cleared. They are free of all these charges. Then they can go on with their daily activities. But for the Attorney General to say that he is not going to proceed, that means it will still linger. If there's a new government, they can equally go back to these pieces and bring it back.
Great. Thank you so much for that submission, Ebenezer. Because you are in UPSA, I would want to start off this story with you. That would be probably our last story that we should be getting into. Is borders on education. Now, some of the results from the recently written WAEC have been withheld, and there's news about some parents and students beseeching the Kumasi office of the West African Examinations Council, WAEC office, that was on Wednesday, demanding the release of withheld results for 2024 West African senior school certificate examination, that's WASI. Now, the affected students, mostly from T.I. Amenshia Senior High School, are unable to proceed with university admissions due to withheld results. You know, and so the report also indicates about 2,000 students from the schools have been affected. You are in UPSA. I'm sure you went through smoothly to get into school and all of that. Why are we here? Why is the office silent? Because from the stories that we've heard, parents and students have been there since morning, and the officers of the WAEC offices have just been quiet. Why are we here? What's put us here as a country to be asking and groping for results, basic results, and because of that, people's education cannot move on? Ebenezer?
Yesterday, I had an interaction with the NUC's president, from one of the former NUC's president, about this particular issue.
Okay.
Concerning exams being written and exams or results being withheld, and it's becoming a problem because year in year out, students will go sit, write exams, expecting a results, and their results will be withheld without any explanation or anything. I think that going forward, I believe that the Minister of Education needs to address these particular trending issues or these issues very, very seriously. I believe that student leaders, especially the mother union, the NUC's executives or the NUC's president, needs to address these issues because it is really becoming a problem. GES needs to also look at these things because it puts the country in a very bad situation. It puts the image of Ghana education in a very bad, critical situation. So going forward, we are hoping. We just had the minister start work, and we are hoping that these issues would be addressed. These problems would be identified as one of the key problems we as a country are facing. Luckily for certain people who didn't face these challenges, they have gotten admissions and they'll think that all is very rosy, but they should also not forget that they have junior brothers and junior sisters who would also one day sit for these WASI exams. So they shouldn't also think that, okay, everything is okay. We all need to come together as a country. We all need to come together as a nation and know that, come on, these are things that we need to address. These are things that the educational ministry, the minister for education, and even government itself needs to pay attention to. Otherwise, it will still linger. It will be a problem year in, year out. We don't understand why I should sit for exams and not get my results. If you go and you write your normal exams, you are expected to get your result. If there is a challenge with the person, if there was examination practice, if there is a problem with the way the school answered their questions, let these issues or let these notes or this information come out to the general public, because it is now looking as if that there is no problem. If there is a problem, let the nation know. If you withheld their information or their results and you don't tell everybody why their results are being held, definitely it would be a problem everybody would like to talk about. So we are hoping that in the quickest of time, WAEC will come out and issue our statement, just as when the minister or their monies were not being paid, they issued a statement that their monies were not paid and therefore they needed it to be addressed. They should equally issue our statement telling the general public why these results have been withheld. Because if these students also do not get admission this year, that means they have to stay home for another 1 year, and it is going to affect their educational system.
Great. Real quickly, let me take your, by way of your last words, Reverend Xavier, just touch on it and then have less than a minute, and then we can wrap up.
Well, to me, this is a very serious issue that is really affecting our educational system in Ghana. It is really a blunder to the credibility of our certificates and other things in this nation. This issue has been happening over the years, and we've been hearing of examination malpractices and cancellation of result and other things. The question is, how come all these things are happening over the years and there have not been any sustainable
solution
approach or solution to it?
Yeah.
I think parents will always be aggrieved. It's very sad for your world to go for an exam and you are waiting for the result and nothing is happening. I think it's time that the nation or the education ministry come out with a system to govern some of these things, because it's not just WASI, it happens in BEC, people are writing exam and there are leakages and all other things that we all know about. So it comes back to the system working in the Ghana education service. Why they put up a very solid system so that we don't have exams coming out, having leak and other things and all these practices. To me, there should be a system. If someone is caught with or is being exam doing something not good, there should be qualities, there should be documentation, something to let the person know that, or evidence to let the person know that you have done this. Therefore, this paper you are writing, you will not get result. Sometimes it's just like a rumor. Or this school, they were caught doing this, and they end up withholding all the student result. I think it's not fair enough.
That's right.
We should put up a very solid system so that the education system of Ghana will have a very strong credibility in the international world. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you to Reverend Xavier Demoji. He's a clinical engineer, head of biomedical department, Lekma Hospital, and then Associate Pastor Teshi East Branch, that's Action Chapel, and then Gabson Ebenezer, he's a UPSA, he's a GRAPSAC secretary. Gentlemen, I'm really grateful for your time. We are sure to have more discussions later, and thank you so much for making time to actually contribute to our development. Right on, Wake Up Africa. All right, so have a beautiful day. Next, we're going to be having, we started off talking kidney, a very important organ in the body. Do want to get, I'm sure yesterday you started with a phone call. I saw what Koku did with Chi. My God, so terrible. But we're going to be having the doctor very soon, and then we'll conclude the conversation on the kidney. A very important conversation. Stay tuned.
All right. See the grace on me, the face I have, the joy I have.
Be God, you bless me.
It's not by might, it's not by strength, just by the Holy Ghost.
Be God, you bless me.
I'm not ashamed to tell the world a blessing that comes from God.
You bless me.
God is a blessing.
Be God, you bless me.
Who better bless?
God, you bless me. Be God, you bless me.
From the planes I fly, the cars I drive, the money I have,
Be God, you bless me.
food on my table, the houses I built, family I got.
Be God, you bless me.
It's not by might, it's not by power, just by the Holy
Be
Ghost.
God, you bless me.
I'm not ashamed to tell the world my blessings that come from
God, you
God.
bless me.
It be God in the bless
Be
me.
God, you bless me.
God in the bless Hey, hey.
Be God, you bless me.
God in the bless me.
Be God, you bless me.
Every Monday, Tuesday,
Be God, you bless me.
Sunday, Saturday.
God, you bless me.
There's nothing like a good health segment. Wow, because it keeps you awake, informed, and then you know what to do at what time. Welcome to the Health Matters segment. And we're joined by the good doctor from the Bank Hospital, Dr. Wisdom Efian. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I know it must have been weird that you were sharing health with a guy like no, come on.
Well, who will come after you?
I know. Anyway, well, you've been talking about kidney, right? What did you guys really touch on? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the calls were kind of like, it was touching every area. But that's the beauty of it. And I love the fact that you were able to, answer all the questions and all the doubted minds. Everybody now knows that you have to go to a facility and you have to get checked. So you don't have to do just over-the-counter medicines and all of that. That's really great, right? So kidney, take us away.
Yes, so I'll just recap on what I said last time, just to ensure that I was get to, this, either dialysis or get a transplant, right? So everything I said.
I'm blessed.
So the last time we met, trying to describe the kidney, we were trying to describe the fact that it's a bean-shaped organ that's located, at the lower back, the place we call peritoneal space, right? And we mentioned that for the length of each kidney, centimeters, and it varies from person to person, right? And we have one on the left and one on the right. And we highlighted that the kidney functions are enormous, and most people think just to produce urine, but the kidney does a lot more things than we can expect or that we can think of. And I remember I said that it's sad that in the past, dialysis would be for, the older people, but now you get people in their early 30s, late 20s going for dialysis, and that's because of, the fact that we're not taking care of our kidneys. And there are certain instances really where you are not in the chronic state or stage, but you've got to be dialyzed. Maybe sometimes people might have what we call an acute kidney injury that is refractory to medications or therapy, and they'd want to just dialyze and quickly get a person out of that state just to prevent, that, chronicity, right? And then I highlighted the functions of the kidney, which I mentioned that the first one would be, in no particular order really, is to make urine, so the body tries to concentrate urine. So you realize that if you don't take a lot of water, your urine tend to be, a lot more darker in terms of, color, yellow, very dark yellow color, and offensive. But if you hydrate frequently, you realize that, it's quite amber colored, which is the normal color that it's supposed to be. And the kidney also helps in regulating blood pressure. I highlighted the last time that kidney problems can give you hypertension, and hypertension can give you kidney problems. So, they are twin brothers living in the same boat, right? So, so the kidney helps to regulate blood pressure. It helps to regulate the blood volume. So you'd have, the kidney concentrating sodium and all those electrolytes and trying to ensure that, you have the right amount of sodium. We always say in medicine that where sodium goes, water follows. So sodium is like a salt, one of the salts in your body. So in that, we always tell people, to prevent eating a lot of salt. So try not to eat a lot of salt, or else you overwhelm your...
Is it just salt or some spice?
Yes, so basically anything that contains salt. So some spices actually contain salt, and then there are de novo salts as well.
I see.
Yeah, because that could also worsen, the outcome as well. Yeah, so aside that, there's a hormonal component of the kidney. The kidney produces hormones, just like, other, like the thyroid and all that. So it produces hormones, and one of them is what we call erythropoietin. And what it does is that really it helps to stimulate the bone marrow to produce red cells. And I mentioned that red blood cells are like shaped cars that carries, so you breathing, goes to your lungs, it gets oxygenated, and then it goes back, it supplies your tissues, right? And aside that, it produces renin. You know, renin also helps to maintain blood pressure and all that. Another function, okay, we can look at screen and see, I've mentioned a few. I've mentioned a few already.
Yeah.
I mentioned that's erythropoietin to the left. You see the red blood cells?
Yes.
Yeah, like donut-shaped cars.
Tissue.
Yeah. And oxygenation, so it helps with oxygenation and all that. Another thing it does is it activates vitamin D. So you see where the intestines are. You see calcium, phosphate, and all that. It activates vitamin D. Now, what vitamin D does in the body is that it helps you absorb calcium, right, from the intestine. Because you can eat food that contain calcium, but your body might not be able to absorb them if you are devoid of vitamin D, right? So what the kidney does, it hydroxylates or activates. It's called 1-hydroxylation of vitamin D, and that helps you absorb calcium, and then even helps in your bones as well. You know, you look at where the bone is labeled. Yeah, so calcium, phosphate, acid base, and all that. So calcium also helps significantly with bone health. You know, but you realize that those who are, you know, aged, extremes of ages, they lack, you know, or perhaps those who have chronic kidney disease who cannot, you know, produce, activate vitamin D and absorb calcium. They have low amount of calcium in the blood, and then again they are prone to fractures because, you know, they have what we call osteoporosis, basically weakening of the bone, the bone cortices.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah.
That was Tuesday.
Yeah, great. Another thing again that it does, as we can see, is when it's maintaining acid base. So there's an acid and there's a base in the body, and it has to be maintained, you know, in a particular level. Usually in medicine we say 3.5 to 7.35 to 7.45. Okay. That range should be kept in check. Now, if you have the value going less than 7.35, you realize that you're going towards the acidic range. If it's going more than 7.45, you're going towards the basic range. So you don't want to go out of these extremes, and that's what the kidney helps you do, maintain acid base. So you realize that if you have, you know, a lot of acid in your body, it tends to excrete, you know, some of the components that would bring your acid base level to normal. If you have a lot of base, it tends to, you know, excrete some of the things. So that's what it does, basically trying to, you know, compensate and all that. And then we went to some of the symptoms and possible signs of, you know, kidney problem that we have. Let me ask you if you remember one from the last time.
No, but I remember that. I remember that you need to drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, preventive measures, right? You need to drink a lot of water. I also remember that it reflects on, is it on the skin? It reflects on the skin at some point. Yeah, that's all I remember. Let me be truthful.
Great. Yes. So I remember that I emphasized on the fact that the first symptom of a kidney problem is no symptom. The first symptom of a kidney asymptomatic, especially if you're in the chronic stage. And we don't want to get there. First off, let me just mention that the causes of, you know, kidney disease, and I ranked them. I said diabetes is on top of our lists.
Yeah.
You know, then we have hypertension, and then we could have, you know, certain medications. These medications, both orthodox and alternatives. So orthodox are those who abuse NSAIDs. NSAIDs are painkillers, you know, over-the-counter painkillers. They could be prescribed, and usually prescribed for a certain number of days that you could use it. But I find that people tend to think that, oh, they help me, they reduce my pain, let me live on them. It's really not the best. And aside the fact that it could cause stomach ulcer, it could also significantly affect your kidneys.
Doc, I want you to say this into, where's Doc's camera? Look straight into this camera and tell the people that if I give you medication at the hospital and you take it, because we have some people, I bought Biko and I bought this. I mean, there are certain grandmothers, they give you, I don't even, like, even if there's a bite on your ear, have you taken the Biko I gave you? You know, what they don't know, they might feel like they're helping you now.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is that they're actually giving you some sort of kidney disease. I want you to look straight into your camera and tell them.
So please, people of God, try not to abuse certain medications. You know, usually when we prescribe these medications, they are for a number of days. And there are certain conditions that would prescribe certain medications for long term. You just want to stick to the routine. And don't keep using them because maybe someone has used them and you also want to use them. You keep using it for a long period of time. Especially non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications. They could damage your stomach, cause stomach ulcer. They could also significantly impact your kidneys. There you have it.
Well, yeah, you heard the good doctor. So people who probably come up with stomach ulcer, you know, some people will say that, oh, I eat well. I drink water. I'm well, you know, I take good care of my food. But then you end up with stomach ulcer, probably because of these excess activities, right? Yeah. Anyway, great. So there you had the good doctor. I needed him to tell you in the face so that the moment you forget, you can remember, get it done. But doc, let's preventive measures and then we quickly go. I know about drinking, but aside that,
Yeah. So unfortunately, when you are, you know, caught that having chronic kidney disease, it's a progression. Right, and just follows that progression. Let me just say the natural history. Natural history is, you know, what happens with a disease state without intervention. Right. Yeah, so the natural history of a chronic disease is that it moves from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3A to stage 3B to stage 4, stage 5, where you have end stage renal disease. Now, when you get to stage 5, you don't want to get there because that's when you've been put on renal replacement therapy or have dialysis. Okay. And usually people just, you know, dialysis is for life, really. It's like more or less trying to buy time for you to have a kidney transplant, right? Okay. So, unfortunately, this process, it cannot be, you know, stopped and then you are out of it. What we can do is to manage it in a sense where we can slow down that progression from stage 1 to 2. So someone can be in stage 1 for 10 years, 20 years. Someone can be in stage, you know, 2, 3. So you don't, once you are, you know, trying to mitigate these risk factors I'm about to mention, and you realize that you are not progressing, right? So that we are trying to limit the progression of your kidney disease. Because when you come on a regular basis, we tend to do a renal function. We are monitoring your, you know, creatinine levels, your EGFR. Is it becoming worse? Is it becoming better? Is it, you know, at a particular point in time? And we don't want it to become worse. So that's what we try to do. Now, some of the preventive measures is basically trying to, you know, mitigate the risk factors, the causes. And I mentioned diabetes. So the last time we had a caller that says that she drinks a lot of water, but she still feels thirsty. She keeps drinking, she keeps thinning, she still feels thirsty. And that is a symptom of diabetes, among many other things. That's a symptom of diabetes. And I was telling her, I don't know if by now she's visited a health facility, but you need to cut these things. So if you don't know, I recently had a patient who was newly diagnosed diabetes. She didn't know, you know, late 60s. She really didn't know. Perhaps she's had it for a long time. But it's now having, because she came with a complication of diabetes, you know. So that was when we picked it up that, no, your sugar control is bad, you see. So for that caller that was experiencing, you know, excessive thirst and all, that's polydipsia. It's a sign or a symptom of diabetes. So you want to try to ensure that you catch the fact that you don't have diabetes. And if you do it, you are treating it. Because if you are properly controlling the blood sugar, it would not, you know, significantly impact the kidneys. The second thing is hypertension. I mentioned how hypertension can cause chronic kidney disease, and so you want to also try take your medications and be regular with them. Now, the third thing is, you know, dietary, you know, modifications. You know, want to limit the number of salt, the amount of salt, I beg your pardon, that you take in. You want to limit the amount of, you know, fatty foods you take in. You want to exercise. Exercise, you know, one way or the other tries to help, you know, with the body and all that. And then limit smoking. The last time I mentioned first, second, and third hand smokers.
Stop it.
Stop it. Actually, stop it. Actually, please, stop smoking. You know, actually, let me just mention that smoking has been linked to cause renal cell carcinoma. Renal cell carcinoma is cancer of the kidney. So smokers are predisposed to having cancer of the kidney. Smokers, chronic smokers are predisposed to having that. So please do stop stop smoking. Yes. And then another thing is getting regular checkup.
Yeah.
Getting regular, like I mentioned, you don't want to progress. Some people might have an acute kidney injury. And an acute kidney injury is when there's an insult to the kidney. It could either, we usually define it as pre-renal, intrinsic renal, and then post-renal. So before the kidney, actually with the kidney, and after the kidney. So if you catch that and it's being treated, you are not going to progress to chronic kidney disease. Now, once you allow that insult continue for 3 months and beyond, you've just tipped yourself off into the chronic kidney disease range. And then now you just have to follow that progression if you are not going to get regular checkup. So yes, so this is why the kidney is important. And hydration, I can't overemphasize the benefit of hydration. Drinking water.
Drink water.
Sometimes people come to the hospital, you check their renal function is low, and then we tell them, go home and drink water and come back in 2 months.
And they don't feel it's
and they don't understand why is the doctor, well, give me medicine to take, you see. Why are you telling me to go home and drink water? That's why God gave it to us freely, of no charge. You don't pay. Okay, well, now people pay for it.
Well, now you pay for it. Yeah. We might even get to a point where we have to import water if we don't do this galamsey menace. So, yeah, that's it. Water is very important. Let me not get there. Let's deal with the health.
Yeah. So, drinking of water is very important. I've seen patients, countless number of patients where their renal function was very bad, and then with good hydration, at least liters. I mean, those in the acute stage. You realize, especially if it's pre-renal, you realize good hydration, because I meant that the kidney has toxins from the body. Now, if these toxins are there, take for instance, you take a cup and you pour a lot of salt in it, and you put a little amount of water in it, you still see the salts, hovering in the clear glass. But if you take a huge, or let's say you open a tap, you realize that at a point you can't see the salt, but the salt is there, but you can't see it because there's a lot of water in the system now. The same goes to the kidney. So the kidney is trying to concentrate your urine, trying to take this salt and trying to push some out. And if you realize that the amount of fluid is not enough, it will be very salty, right? So you want to help the kidneys to flush the toxins out and try to maintain a good health. So basically, that is what I'd want to mention.
Great. Isn't it always a pleasure to have you? I think we should have you every day. Well,
I don't have your kind of energy.
No. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Doc. It's always a pleasure to have you. You're a good doctor. Water. Is that too much to ask? Drink water in the morning. Drink water in the afternoon. Drink water in the evening. Drink water when you want to. Drink water when you don't want to. Drink water when you feel like. Drink water when you don't feel like. Just drink water.
I think that should be the message for today.
Yeah.
When you feel like and when
you don't feel like. Just drink water, okay? All right, so let's take a water break, right? And then everybody's going to drink water at home, in the studio. And then when we get back, we'll wake up properly.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll be back.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Africa 54, in partnership with Voice of America, weekdays 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Dominion TV.
upgrade is nice, but a double upgrade is amazing. And that's how we do it. Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up. If you're on GOtv Max and upgrade to GOtv Super, you'll get way more with GOtv Super Plus.
It's so cool!
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
Very good.
Perfect! Upgrade and get even more with GOtv. GOtv. Love it.
I want to welcome you to Wake Up Africa Morning Show. If Africa has ever needed to wake up, it's now. I promise you that this Wake Up Africa Morning Show will impact your life. It will illuminate you. The Bible said that thy word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. You need this insight. You need the understanding required to make all the difference in all of our lives. I want you not just to tune in to the Wake Up Africa Morning Show, but I want you to be a sponsor. I want you to partner with us as we take this Wake Up Africa Morning Show, the inspiration it brings, the impact across all Africa, to homes, to individuals, impacting lives. Join us to make a difference. It is said and believed that in this life, what you do to change the life of others matters than what you acquire for yourself. It is believed that it's not what you have, what you possess that matters, but the difference you made in the life of others. I believe as you partner with Wake Up Africa Morning Show, you'll be joining us to make a difference in the life of so many people out there. Partner with us, and every time we touch a life, you are blessed. Every time we impact a family, you'll be remembered for good. God bless you. Looking forward to partnering with you and tuning in to Wake Up Africa Morning Show.
I decree today that the power of God that is coming upon your life, no enemy will touch you and go free.
Experience the power. Take dominion.
In the name of Jesus, I prophesy. Doors of favor.
Action Chapel's Dominion Hour. Now, live, this and every Thursday on Dominion TV.
And from today, you will be stronger than any enemy.
I decree today that the power of God that is coming upon your life, no enemy will touch you and go free.
Experience the power. Take dominion.
In the name of Jesus, I prophesy. Doors of favor.
Action Chapel's Dominion Hour. Now, live, this and every Thursday on Dominion TV.
And from today, you will be stronger than any enemy.
Okay, you're welcome back. It's time for sports. Did you take the water? It was a water break, okay? So be truthful to yourself. Tell us if you took water on our social media. So, yeah, I just took water. Hashtag Wake Up Africa. Yeah, right. Now, let's get on with sports. I don't want to talk about Man U and Sons, but, I mean, we're going for UEFA Champions League. Carl will be giving all the pressure in the world, but it's okay. We'll handle it like that. Morning, Carl.
Good morning.
You good?
I hope you're good.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm okay. What's up in the world of sports?
I took in water.
Actually, for people who do sports, water is an all-important thing, you know, but no matter the sports that you do. So aside the fact that it's good for good life, it's also good for sports.
Yeah, so
you should.
So I took my water, and I'm sure my guest also took his water before coming in, because today we're having an interesting conversation about the Black Stars of Ghana, Ghana sports in general, and maybe our hopes of qualifying to World Cup 2026 in United States of America, Canada, and of course Mexico. We'll be having that issue, but I'm sure you have taken it.
Yes, I have. Very important. So everybody needs to get some water.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so Carl, take us away.
All right, thank you very much. This is Sports Break right here on Wake Up Africa, your ultimate destination for everything sports. So we're talking more today, but before then, we'll look at UEFA Champions League, the standings and teams that have qualified will be on the waiting list, and also teams that will be playing in the playoffs coming up. And tonight we've got Europa League matches coming up, Thursday night evening matches as well, and also a conversation right here in the seat. This at Dominion TV, it's Wake Up Africa Sports Break segment. We'll be right back. a pleasure to have you in the seat. I've treated you so far in 2025. To begin with.
30 days into 2025. Quite a zigzag one because it is school fees month. It is the longest month. And it is also a month for rent. So you can imagine. So
it's been tough. It's been tough.
Yeah, but I'm always of the opinion that challenges are meant to make us better. And since this is a platform where the Lord is always with us, I would say that God does not give you a challenge you cannot overcome.
That's true.
So I believe that some of these things are meant to show us that we've got a strength to often get ahead of things hitherto we never thought we could. And 2025 so far has been quite a good one.
All right, so we ended 2024 on a very bad note where the reality dawned on us that Ghana is not going to the African Cup of Nations. And just this week, we watched the draw, and everybody was like, really, Ghana is not there. Let's start off with the conversation with the Black Stars of Ghana. 2024, it was a bad year for the Black Stars. What do you make of it?
Yes, I think it was a bad year. Indeed, it was a bad year. I was in Côte d'Ivoire for the AFCON.
Yeah.
I watched them against Cape Verde when they lost miserably.
Yeah.
I watched them against Egypt when individual blunders cost the team.
Yeah.
And 89 minutes, Ghana was leading against Mozambique. A miracle dropped from the sky. Mozambique got an equalizer. And Ghana failed to progress. I saw every single thing play out under me, or under my very eyes. I remember when we came out of the stadium, I saw the GFA president, I saw the sports minister, the vice president, who was the then management committee chairman of the Black Stars. Yes, I saw the chief of staff of the Ghana Football Association. They were a group. And clearly I could tell that this was a meeting about the future of the technical team.
Yeah.
And the following day, the head coach was fired after it was confirmed that Ghana was going to be eliminated from the competition. And Otoado made a return. He was coming back, having left us just about a year ago, when he had said that no matter where Ghana gets to at the FIFA World Cup,
he's done with the Black Stars.
He had a job with Borussia Dortmund, and he was not willing to take up the job full time. But the FA, in their wisdom, believed that they were going to bring him back. I remember somewhere February, when I reported that Otoado was coming back, many people were surprised. Like, why is Otoado coming back?
The question is, how do you get this news? How?
Oh, come on.
You get the news as early as that. The most recent one is about the Minister of Sports and Recreation designate, Mr. Honorable Kofi Kofi. You broke the news about 2 weeks before. How?
I don't know how I'm going to answer it. But actually, sometimes the intel comes to you unsolicited.
Okay.
So if there's a deliberate effort in chasing for information, sometimes you might not even get it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm privileged that people often trust me to share stuff with me.
Okay.
There are some stories, sometimes you do them, it takes months. And people will begin to wonder, is actually going to happen? I recall in 2020, when I did a story about how the Ghana Football Association Executive Committee was planning to pay themselves 4,000 Ghana cedis every month. The FA president himself came and commented under the post and said, Nabila. Then within 9 months later, you went to Congress and you were going to pay yourself the same amount.
The same amount, yeah.
And I also recall another story that I did. It took like 8 months or so before it came to pass. Even Chris Hughton, when I said he was going to take up the Black Stars coaching job, it took months before he got the job. So sometimes some of the staff, they come to me unsolicited. I was just lying somewhere, minding my business. And someone called and told me that Neil Lante is no longer going to be the sports minister. I woke up, I'm like, really? He said, yeah.
So before then, it was Neil Lante?
Yeah, it was Neil Lante, actually.
You can confirm that?
Yeah. I can say it was Neil Lante.
So what changed?
What actually changed was about the regional balance. The president has a responsibility of ensuring that he meets the requirement of the Constitution that says that there should be a regional balance in the appointment of ministers. And prior to that, there was also the other conversation about the number of people who were MPs in Parliament And I'm sure if Neil Lanthe was an MP, he was going to get
that note.
If you take a look at the appointment the president has done so far, one thing is quite clear. Many of the appointees have been in Parliament for at least two, three terms.
Yeah.
So if Neil Lanthe decided that he was going to still be the MP for the Dodo constituency, I'm sure he would have gotten it. But the moment the pressure came from the constitution to satisfy the regional balance, the number of people in Parliament and all that, he needed to revise his notes. And the list too was going through consultations. And in the end, they said no. And around that time, there was no one from the Oti region yet. So they just decided they should settle on.
Great. So we'll come back to the Minister of Sports designate. I hear he will be going
he will be vetted today at 11 a.m.
So, let's go back to the Black Stars. You're talking about the return of Otuado.
Yeah, he made a return. First 2 games against Nigeria and Uganda. Lost against Nigeria, drew against Uganda, won the World Cup.
That was a friendly game against Nigeria.
Friendly matches. And these matches was it April or May, if I remember right. Yeah. And the World Cup qualifiers, he beat Mali away, beat Central African Republic at the Bawaya Sports Stadium, and people were like,
Otu is back.
Otu is back. The Messiah is back. And all of a sudden, everything began to crumble. And we had a very horrendous output in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers. I'm wondering how we played 6 matches without winning a single one. And people would often tell you that if you take a look at Sudan, this is a war-torn country. This is a country that had never had the privilege of playing in front of their very own spectators. Niger as well. Because they do not have the facilities to meet CAF requirements, they had to play their matches away from home. But Ghana couldn't even beat them. So it begs the question whether it is actually talent challenge or technical challenge. And from where I sit, I do not think we lack talent. What I think is that the technical team were actually horrible in terms of how we played.
Then the technical team has been revamped. Just this week we heard about the revamp of the technical team where the Ghana Football Association have announced some additions and some omissions from the technical team. If you permit me, let me run through. We still have Otuado in charge as the head coach of the Black Stars and Wilfred Anton Schaffer as the director of football and technical advisor. Desmond Ofe from under 20 now promoted to the Black Stars. He's an assistant coach. Derek Bonsu, athletic coach. Assistant coach John Pencil, who everybody thinks he should be going by now. He should be a gunner. Fatau Dauda. Okay, I'll come back to you.
Going.
We'll come back to that. Goalkeepers trainer Fatau Dauda. We've got team doctor, of course, the Dr. Prince Pambo. Team psychologist Chris Pekri. We've got physiotherapist Edward Abebio, Mazoa Samuel Ankuma. Chief video analyst, we have Gregory de Graaf and Awa Salifu Kanin, video analyst. Aminu Shadow, team manager, maintained. Isa Amadou, kit officer, and then Abdul Rahman Al Hassan. These are the full list of the technical team of the Black Stars. Your thought?
Joseph Lawman is the older person out. The inclusion of Desmond Ofer, I think is quite a positive one. In fact, someone told me a couple of weeks ago that Desmond Ofer was being considered for a role in the Black Stars. But wow. Funny enough, I didn't share that one. But someone. So
I realized you went back to your social media. You were like, wow, how come you missed that?
No, I didn't miss it actually.
You just decided.
It depends on the person who told me, but I should have cross-checked. Maybe if I cross-checked, I probably would have done the story, but I didn't cross-check. The thing is that John Pencil was one of the few people who was supposed to go until the FA struggled in terms of the assistant coach. So let me just mention something. On January 8th, the Ghana Football Association president had a meeting. It was a 3-man meeting. If I go in detail, they might know probably one of the people who was in the meeting, and he told me. It was on January 8th. It was a Saturday. I don't know if you can cross-check that. And in that conversation, a couple of things happened. There was a conversation about how the technical team was not strong enough, how they needed a very experienced coach to support Otuado, because the FA in their mind were always convinced that Otto was going to stay. Wow. So all the drama that we were seeing, all the executive committee has met, and some are saying he should go, some says he should stay.
They are expecting his report and all that.
So indeed they wanted the report.
Okay.
So what actually happened in the first meeting, which happened was that in that meeting, there was a section of the executive committee that wanted Otto sacked.
Okay.
And the argument was that the KPIs that were handed to him was to have him qualify Ghana to the African Cup of Nations. Since he's failed to meet that, they should let him go.
Yeah. Then
there was the other argument from another quarter within that executive committee that said that over the years, we've changed how many coaches?
5 under this administration.
So they believed that changing coaches was not the perfect thing.
Was not a solution to that.
And the other thing was that if you sack him, you pay him a severance package.
Yeah.
The severance package of CH, as you and I speak, hasn't paid.
Wow.
They said they were going to pay him $50,000. CH Akuna rejected that. I don't know if I've mentioned this somewhere, but that's it. And there was also the severance package of Chris Hughton, which hasn't been paid. It was the FA that paid the severance package, Milovan River. Wow. Though government forced them to sack Milovan River. Government did not pay it. So they were like, no, we can't keep on incurring deaths in terms of severance packages by parting company with coaches. Then there was the thing that, okay, if this conversation we are having, the man has not even presented his report why we failed. So they were like, okay, then let's meet him, because it was a Wednesday, let's meet him in the evening.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that meeting ended around 6 to 7 p.m. So they told him, okay, bring your report the following week, which was going to be, was it November 27, if my memory serves me right. The following week, he came and presented a 56-page document to them. And he found out some of the challenges why Ghana failed to qualify. I actually told them that he was a man who could get it done.
Oh, okay.
But even in that meeting, some still insisted that he should go.
Okay.
That was when the FA president told them that, okay, at this point, I do not think that we have the final say on the future of Otto. If we sack him, let's not forget that there's government that pays him. Okay. So let's wait and engage government and decide on whether to keep him or not. So in the end, they decided to let it stay there. And following the elections, I was made to understand that there was a conversation about setting up a World Cup task force.
Okay.
That World Cup task force will oversee Ghana's qualification to the FIFA World Cup. Okay. And this is an idea.
Is it going to be a government-led World Cup task force or the FA-led?
Like they are going to come together. Kufuor did it in 2004 to see Ghana qualify for the FIFA World Cup. So it's something they looked at and they said, okay, let's keep Otto. Okay. But in that meeting of January 8th, the technical team backroom staff were told that no, they're not good enough. And the FA president himself, I was made to understand, actually admitted that sometimes the performance of the team is quite inconsistent. Yeah. There will be a day the team will play well, other times too, the team don't play well. So they needed to beef up the technical team. And in fact, beefing up the technical team didn't even start now. It started way back in October after Ghana drew against Niger. Their away match. I remember I reported that story on my social media pages. It was October 25. That was when I reported it, that they were looking at the possibility of beefing up the technical team.
That's replacing some of the...
Yeah, some of the members of the technical team. Okay. And on that January 8th meeting, that was what broke the camel's back by the FA in terms of their decision to part company with some of the people they were going to work with. Okay. So after that meeting, Aminu Shado was supposed to be replaced as team manager of the Black Stars, but I was never convinced that Aminu was going to go. Considering the relationship he has with the FA president, it's just like the people in Parliament who said Nanado should sack Kenofura. It was going to be a very difficult thing for him to do. Okay. But one of the things he said was that the team managers need someone who is computer literate. Yeah. And when I looked through the former players, I thought that argument was quite lame, because if you need someone to be the team manager and the person is computer literate, some of these players are coaches. Yeah, yeah. They draw up tactical plans. Yeah, yeah. They use the computer. So I tell them, what sort of excuse are you giving me that, oh, you need people who are...
Then they maintain Amini shadow.
Yeah,
so
they maintained Amini shadow for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I still cannot tell, but I knew that the FA president was never going to sack him. For a goalkeeper's trainer, there was nothing definite about his future. I was never told where he was going to go. But what I was actually told was that the backroom staff was dissolved. Okay. To have him stay is another thing. Then there was John Pinsel, who was also told he's going to go. Until the FA struggled to get the replacement. And then there's when for this 75-year-old.
Okay, so we'll come back to your thoughts on the 75-year-old Anton Spa, the German champ. Let's look at coaches, assistant coaches, and their aid or help they render to the senior coaches or the head coaches. And looking at the capacity of John Pinsel and Desmond Ofer, do you think they are capable enough to, as it were, assist Otuado in delivering?
Actually, I've always been of the opinion that the core person who takes the responsibility is the coach.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when you go to training sessions, you will always have assistant coaches
leading
direct training sessions.
Yeah, doing demonstrations and stuff.
Technical decisions and in-game management, it's the coach who has the final say.
Yeah.
They can advise.
Okay.
I think Desmond Ofer, quite a brilliant young man.
Yeah.
In fact, he secured Ghana's qualification to the Under-20 Youth Championship. He won the African Games gold medal in Ghana. John Pinsel, there's nothing that anyone can attribute to him and say that John has got this level of success in his coaching career.
Yeah,
so he can actually contribute positively. But someone like Desmond Ofer, I think one of the things he can bring to the table is to help the transition of players,
young players,
into the national team, because he's worked with
so
them.
So why not maintain him at the under-20 level for him to groom, help them develop, and maybe get that?
He saw that.
Yeah.
In fact, he was considered for the role of the Black Stars coaching job, but he doesn't have the qualification. It's actually something he's working on. And if I were Desmond, I would have been that daring to accept it.
Wow.
Yeah, because the FA likes him. The FA actually wants him to do it.
Okay.
Just the same way they like Otuado.
Yeah.
It's the same thing they like him.
Okay.
So when they considered him, he was humble enough to say, no, I need to grow. I need to develop myself.
Great.
To meet the requirements of leading the national team.
Okay.
So I think that the decision to accept the role of an assistant coach is to help him understudy Otto, Shafa, Pekai, and co, so that he will
maybe he'll go into the
job. And if, in fact, when the FA set out to look out for the assistant coach, they actually needed someone in the absence of Otuado. That person can lead the team.
Yes, because we saw MS5 with the Ivorian national team when the coach was booted out.
That was actually the plan of the FA until they were unsuccessful in their attempts to get an assistant coach. So, in fact, one of the coaches pulled out somewhere last week. One of the coaches they were looking at, he's a Belgian.
Okay.
They were looking at getting him to be the assistant coach. So he pulled out. It was when he pulled out that they decided to maintain John Pinsel. So actually, they can contribute, but the huge responsibility falls on the shoulder of the coach. Even the technical advisor they brought, if you advise Otto and he says that this is the way I want to go, the technical advisor
can't do anything. All right, so that's that. We're having a conversation with Muftar Nabila, sports journalist, and also, of course, let me emphasize that he's an award-winning GJA sports journalist of the year, and it's an honor to have him here breaking all the news and Jews, separating the Jews from the news, of course, right here on Sports Break. I'm Carl. Now, let's, you have qualifiers coming up, the World Cup qualifiers. Reality dawned on us this week that we are not going to the African Cup of Nations.
It dawned on me the moment Ghana failed to qualify. That draw against Nigeria.
But some of us, it was at the draws that we saw, Ghana was not going and our names are nowhere. Nobody even mentioned the Black Stars at Ghana.
You see, after that game against Nigeria, I was like, if Ghana had won this, the chances of me going to Morocco to cover the AFCON was extremely high. So I always say that the success of the Black Stars has a certain ripple effect on sports journalists in this country.
That's true.
You cannot underestimate the impact of covering major competitions.
That's true.
Like the African Cup.
Like
the networks you will create. The opportunities it will create for you. It is because your national team is there. When I was in Qatar 2022 for the FIFA World Cup, I was privileged to work with a FIFA team that produced content for the FIFA Plus channel. I was the Ghana correspondent for that. It is because the Black Stars was there.
Yeah.
Ghana is not in Morocco for the AFCON.
Yeah.
What are the tendencies that some of these foreign media organizations would reach out?
Great. So on
and
that,
sometimes I was a correspondent for the ESPN. It is because Ghana was at major competition.
Now Ghana is missing out on Morocco, but we
I
can't
am missing out on money.
Interesting. You understand the emotions and all that, but that is the reality of Black Stars missing out in Morocco. But we can't afford to miss out on United States of America, Morocco, and Mexico and Canada. Do we have the?
I think one of the pluses is the appointment of the team psychologist. And
Okay.
I'll always lay this on the doorsteps of the GFA president. When it was proposed to him to appoint a psychologist for the team, and he felt a psychologist was never a necessity when it comes to the Black Stars. Even when we were going to Qatar World Cup, I remember there was a meeting.
As an astute administrator of football, the Ghana Football Association president, and you are saying...
Yeah, and in fact, one of the things that he actually agreed to do, it was the appointment of this psychologist also took place in that January 8th meeting.
Wow.
When he finally agreed that they were going to appoint a team psychologist.
Wow, interesting.
So I think that the psychologist will have a responsibility of getting the boys to believe that you can forget about the failure to qualify for the African Cup.
This is another opportunity.
This is another opportunity for you to start afresh.
Yeah.
And look at the fact that in your first two matches under Otuado, against Mali and Central African Republic, you won those matches. So psychologically, the team psychologists can help the boys.
Okay,
because when you lose matches consecutively or struggle to put up an optimum performance, it can impact you negatively.
Of course.
So you need a psychologist to be able to work
here are
with
the players who are performing in Europe, in their clubs in Europe. And
it doesn't matter. The atmosphere surrounding them at their European club is completely different from the national team.
Interesting.
You come here, you're within a group that is not so used to winning.
Yeah.
And it can also...
Do you think relationship-wise, man-to-man relationship, coach and player relationship, do they have it?
They do. They do. They actually have a very positive outlook until that gaffe that Otuado had when he made Mohamed Kudus the captain. It changed the atmosphere within the team. Now he had to travel and meet the players one after the other and explain to them and all that. It was a major issue. And it actually happened because one of the players, he met him recently.
Is it Thomas?
No, Jiku.
Okay.
You know, in the absence of Thomas Partey and just after Thomas Partey and Richard Ofori, the next captain should have been Alexander Jiku. Unfortunately, Otuado was unhappy about certain things in relation to Jiku. I remember someone claimed that Jiku had lied to the coach or something, and the coach was not so happy. That is why he didn't give Jiku the captain armband. Then who should have given it to? Give it to Jordan Ayew.
Yeah.
He started to give it to Mohamed Kudus. And guess what? The players got to know that Mohamed Kudus was going to be the captain during that press conference when he was told. So actually, many people were not happy. And in fact, Kudus himself was not so excited about stepping into the leadership role.
Wow.
But the coach has handed it to him, so he had to step up. So I actually think that the coach was also one of the problems. He caused that disunity, but now everything is fine. He's met them one-on-one.
We have a management committee in place led by Dr. Randy Abbey. Do you think they are going to, they can, as it were, help the team qualify to the World Cup? That should be your final comments.
Yeah, I think the management committee, one of their core responsibilities is to plan for the team, but they are not on the pitch.
Yeah.
So those on the pitch will actually be the determinants of whether Ghana qualifies to the World Cup or not. I'm not going to sit here and say the management committee would be able to get it done. It's the players. It's the players.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for that insight into the Black Stars of Ghana. And hey, the Black Stars are now going to Morocco 2025, which will happen later in December and in January. And of course, we've got on March, we have the World Cup qualifiers coming up, and of course, Utuado will still be at the helm of affairs, ably assisted by John Pinstall and Desmond Ofe and a host of other team. And also kudos to the team and everyone, hoping that the Black Stars will secure qualification yet again to the 2026 World Cup. That is a sports break right here on Wake Up Africa. Thank you so much for being our guest. We'll do that same time again tomorrow morning on the sports break segment right here on Wake Up Africa. And when we come back, Biadela will be in the seats.
We just go around just making statements that are not even biblical. God reveals to redeem. It's not in the Bible. God reveals so we can walk, so we can enforce the word of God and the scriptures over the enemy's intent. Any hope and expectation the enemy has concerning your family and your loved one, by the eternal blood of Jesus, we override that hope. We override that expectation. Put your hands together and override it.
The Voice of Inspiration, weekdays and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. only on Dominion TV. It's adventure after adventure after adventure. Get a load of your favorite Bible adventure series, Superbook. So, get on board. Let's join Chris, Joy, and Gizmo. It's Superbook time. Superbook, weekdays at 4:30 p.m. Also on Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. on Dominion TV.
The season is up and running. Save! Spain are the champions of the world!
Sports Break on Dominion TV.
I want to welcome you to Wake Up Africa Morning Show. If Africa has ever needed to wake up, it's now. I promise you that this Wake Up Africa Morning Show will impact your life. It will illuminate you. The Bible said that thy word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. You need this insight. You need the understanding required to make all the difference in all of our lives. I want you not just to tune in to the Wake Up Africa Morning Show, but I want you to be a sponsor. I want you to partner with us as we take this Wake Up Africa Morning Show, the inspiration it brings, the impact across all Africa, to homes, to individuals, impacting lives. Join us to make a difference. It is said and believed that in this life, what you do to change the life of others matters than what you acquire for yourself. It is believed that it's not what you have, what you possess that matters, but the difference you made in the life of others. I believe as you partner with Wake Up Africa Morning Show, you'll be joining us to make a difference in the life of so many people out there. Partner with us, and every time we touch a life, you are blessed. Every time we impact a family, you'll be remembered for good. God bless you. Looking forward to partnering with you and tuning in to Wake Up Africa Morning Show.
Step up with DStv and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale. Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DStv.
I decree today that the power of God that is coming upon your life, no enemy will touch you and go free.
Experience the power. Take dominion.
Say the name of Jesus. Name of Jesus. I prophesy. I prophesy. Doors of favor. Doors of favor.
Action Chapel's Dominion Hour. Now, live, this and every Thursday on Dominion TV.
And from today, you will be stronger than any enemy.
Okay, well, welcome back. That was a great sports segment. And now it's time for us to get into an African Thought Leadership Series, something that Coco has been championing so much. Now, today we want to get into useful appointments into governmental positions here in Africa. Aside the fact that some African countries are being ruled by the old, there seems to be a surge of new age where young people are taking into offices and giving the nod at governance. And so today we want to get into the nitty-gritties of it. What does it mean to have a young person or useful person in office? Is it a blessing or a curse? Now, we've seen lots of young African leaders that are emerging. The very recent one is Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, who is took over, even though it was a military takeover. He did so at the age of 36, and that's for Burkina Faso. Mahamat Derby, we have that's from Chad at age 39. Assimi Goita, Mali at age 41. The list goes on and on. Mahamdi Doboya as 44. At the presidential appointment, lots of government position given to young people. So today we want to know, this is the way to go. Some people say that Africa's biggest problem is leadership. Now we have youthful leaders. Is that a blessing or a curse? And then to help me do this discussion today, we're joined via Zoom, some very great minds. We have Mr. Bismarck Tay. He's a leadership expert. And then we also have Sarah Amakba Azasu. She's a multilingual international relations and diaspora engagement specialist. And so if they're here with me this morning, good morning. Sarah and Bismarck, good morning. How are we? Yeah, if you can hear me, just give me a wave so I can see that you can actually hear me.
We can hear you.
Great. Amazing. Oh, y'all look really great, though. Yeah, it's good to see you. Nice. Yes. Oh, that's a lady's voice. It suits everything. Bismarck, don't get offended. Now, let's get on with with useful leadership or useful appointments in government positions. I want to take your general overview with where Africa started from, appointing the old, making it look as though it's only the old that can drive the continent, to where there has been a change, to where we're giving the opportunity to the young people to take office in governance and presidencies and all of that. If I can have a general overview of where Africa started from and where we are now, and then we can get deeply into. Let me start. They say ladies first, so let's start with the lady, Sarah.
Hello, Jadala. Good morning, and good morning to our listeners and viewers, and thank you for this platform this morning. I would say briefly that indeed it's been a few years, or it's been a number of years in waiting for Africa to catch on with the idea of youthful leadership, especially in government, in very sensitive positions. But one could say that Africa hasn't done badly in the past decade. I would say that we have indeed joined a committee of nations that have taken that bold step in trusting the youth. So I think even as far back as about 7 years ago, one of the youngest MPs in Kenya's parliament was 23 years old. And one gentleman called Mwigiri, he was still a college student when he actually entered parliament. And his story has it that he actually used a bicycle during his campaign, moving from town to town and place to place, influencing people and giving them his message of hope. So I think that Africa is doing great. Even President Paul Kagame became president at age 43. And globally, you see that presidents like Emmanuel Macron at 39, Justin Trudeau, PM of Canada at 43. So you realize that all around, generally, Africa is catching up or taking that bold step, because in Rwanda recently, I think about a year ago, we saw some very young ministers of state that were appointed. Kenya has always led this. And I think it's a good thing that Ghana, as a leader in the sub-Saharan Africa, has joined this committee of nations that is doing this bold thing. So for me, it's actually a matter of excitement. It's a matter of hope. It's actually a message of confidence and a great opportunity to know that Ghanaian youth have also gotten to that level where their president and their nation reposes such confidence in them to bring on board new ideas in governance. Yes.
Amazing. Bismarck?
Yeah, thank you, Biara, and a very good morning to your viewers all over Africa. So again, just as Sarah mentioned, it's a very refreshing news to see that Africa is catching up with the rest of the world. You mentioned rightly, we came from a place where we've had 80-somethings being presidents. We had 60 plus being ministers occupying very sensitive leadership roles, to a time when now in some parts of Africa, 23-year-olds are ministers. Here in Ghana, we see very young people being MPs. I will attribute this greatly to a cultural shift in Africa.
Okay.
So culturally in Africa, we see age as a requirement to leadership over the years. We saw that we equated wisdom and ability to lead to how old the person is. And that has reflected from the family system to the church to business to even political governance over the years. Now, what I see that happened was the advent of technology, where we can see from elsewhere that really what we gain in years, technology can afford a young person to learn so much. So the issue of personal development, receiving leadership coaching and training, experiences, all of this. So technology has actually opened up Africa to see that, one, it is possible to be young, know so much, and then be able to lead. And that's what has caused, in my opinion, the shift across Africa. And the few times that it was experimented, and the result has given even leaders, presidents, the courage and confidence to now go ahead and appoint very young people into sensitive ministerial roles. And that's what we can see even happening here in Ghana. Because if a president doesn't feel comfortable, maybe by watching it happen at other places, you may not be able to venture into appointing very young people, because you might feel if these people disappoint in their roles, that is coming to tell on me. And so it has become a cultural shift across Africa, which is a very good thing, especially going into the next 10, 15 years. It is projected that Africa will lead the world in terms of youthful manpower to supply the rest of the world. And so if this is what is happening now, where young people in Africa are being given the opportunity to lead, then really we are preparing ourselves in the next 10, 15 years. We will not only be producing labor, but we'll be producing quality leaders as well to lead the world.
That's amazing. The fact that we're giving the young people the nod to carry the torch. But what are some of the advantages? I mean, just supposing the achievements of the developed world to what we're doing or we're starting now. What are some of the advantages that we should be looking at or we should be riding on, giving the nod to young people? I see the like of Basanteli here in Ghana, Sami Jane Fees and all these new ministers that are cropping up. Yes, we hear that, okay, they are bringing new ideas. And is that it? Is that all? What other advantages are there? Let me start with the lady. Sarah?
Yes, Biadela.
Yes.
I am smiling because indeed it's actually of great benefit to a nation to give this beautiful opportunity to young leaders. For starters, we are talking about youthful exuberance here. We have people who are young at heart and young in terms of age as well. So naturally, they have this sort of energy and ambition, and I call it positive hunger. Positive hunger in the sense that you want to work and make a name for yourself. You want to work and leave a mark, so to say, because this is an opportunity. I think, like Bismarck just said a breath ago, there is this confidence when the older generation trusts you to deliver. So some way, somehow, you are actually motivated to impress. Number one, you want to impress the person that has appointed you that, hey, you didn't make a mistake. And in our technological world right now, you know, you have that burden of everyone is watching. I am not the one going to disappoint the youth, you know. And of course, there is the idea of fresh perspectives. I have this example about how close and connected the youth are to the challenges of our current system, okay? Yeah. So we have, for example, someone my father's age or the age of our ministers, older ministers, most of who are moving away from service now, telling you that when I was in the university, I had a room to myself. I had breakfast served in school. I had lunch served. I had a nap when you were in the university. And you know, 50, 60 years down the line, the youth are in that same university and about 10 people are sleeping in the same room that is meant for 1 or 2 people. So the youth have that advantage where they are in touch with the challenge.
Great.
So it's more relatable for them to want to change some of these systems that will support our growth and take away challenges like unemployment. The other bit of the relatability is that most of these people have colleagues, mates, and friends who are in this age bracket that are facing some of these challenges. So that feeling of, I can easily walk up to this person if their doors are open, of course, which is another piece of advice for the young leaders. They should attempt to have open door policies, or maybe time of the day or in the week where the youth can actually come and talk to you, share their challenges or share ideas with you. So there are huge benefits actually. And but let me be quick to add that if the older generation will be challenging this new paradigm shift, we have actually sat and we have seen the older ones, the gray-haired, the experienced people lead our beloved nation through challenges, more or less rising inequalities, financial crises, and all forms of decay. So we are poised to say that it is very advantageous actually for both the youth as a category and for the nation to leverage what the young people can offer. And one thing I dare say right now is that the youth of Africa have a certain sense of audacity that it can't be contained. And I think this is the time that the youth should be allowed to explore and give of their best whilst they are young for the nation to benefit.
Great,
yes.
great. How do we use all these advantages? Bismarck, I'm coming to you now, to drive innovation. Aside the fact that, Sarah mentioned that there's innovation, there's the youthful exuberance. It could go both ways. It could go good. It could go, also it could go south for us. And that's where I'm thinking that there should be some sort of mentorship for people who have been there, not competing with the young people's ideas and all of that. But how do you think these young people can ride on these advantages that they have to drive innovation that will be seen at the end of the day on the table, in our pockets, in our daily lives? Bismarck, can you take us through that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Diadela. So as Sarah rightly said, the youth of Africa as a race, we are very energetic, and that reflects in everything we do, including leadership. Now, aside the youthful exuberance of a young leader, we have an African young leader. So you can imagine the level of the youthful exuberance.
Yeah.
Now, imagine such a person aims to be in, say, political leadership.
Yeah.
And over the course of his or his life, there hasn't been any avenue to actually serve, experiment, learn. And so this person grows to the age of 60 with all of the ideas and maybe flaws in the ideas. And at 60, this person is given opportunity now to lead. And at that age, it's assumed the person has wisdom. And so everybody's expectation of the person. So at 60 years, somebody is now going to experiment leadership, make all the mistakes. And at that stage, a whole country is going to suffer the inefficiency, the lack of experience, the lack of refinement of even leadership ideas, values, and abilities. So it is a good thing that the young people are coming in now. So one key advantage is giving them the opportunity to experiment. So at this stage, you still have the elderly people who have been in that situation to help them. And I want to praise His Excellency John Mahama for a very important thing in these appointments. Most of the young people, he's putting them in acting positions, which means you are still being observed. You are being guided. When you prove yourself, then we confirm your appointment, which is a very good thing, such that they are able to, once you know you are in acting capacity, you will be conscious of what you do. So how do they now leverage this opportunity? Roosevelt says that it is not enough to prepare the future for the youth. We have to equally prepare the youth
for the future. Yeah.
And you don't, as a young person who is aspiring to be great, you don't wait for somebody to prepare you for the future, although there is a responsibility on society to prepare the youth. So these young appointees, what they have to do is to see the opportunity that we are being entrusted a golden opportunity to learn first and then to make a mark.
Yeah.
When they make that mark, they open room for others to have the same opportunity. If they fail, they close that door to all other young people in the future.
Right.
And so they need the humility to learn and not see the positions as a testament of how big they are, how good they are, and then they become the kind of leaders who don't listen, who don't learn, thinking, I am good enough, that is why I was appointed, and so there is nothing to learn. once they go that trajectory, they will definitely fail, because leadership is such that because we lead human beings and human behavior is changing daily, the art of leadership needs to be dynamic in changing to the changing behavior of the people and society. And so the only way they can take advantage of this and do good out of it is the humility to learn from the elders, the humility to learn from the people they are working with. And then on the other side, the old will not have to see the young people as competition or a judgment that, oh, we have passed the age of the adults leading, and so they don't know anything. They are Gold Coast era people. No, but they also need to see an opportunity to mentor whatever values and principles that has helped them in the past to lead very well. This is now an opportunity to transfer that, to mentor these young people. Even if they don't approach them for mentorship, they, the adults, can approach them and help guide them and mentor them. And whilst doing this, they need patience. Without patience, they cannot mentor, because this is a generation of high energy. The energy is in how they think, how they act, and everything. It's a fast food kind of generation. So without patience from the adults, it will become very difficult for them to mentor. So the patience also gives them room to see them fail. Leaders must be given room to fail. You fail, they help you to learn from it and go over. And this is how the young people can actually take advantage of this and bring all the fresh ideas, the innovations into the sectors they have been appointed to serve.
To juggle between the experience of the old people and then their own, exuberance, and they should also have patience. Now, one of the things that we did was that we went to the streets to find out what people think about the youth in government, what they think about it, if it's a good call or it's a call south, and then we wanted to know what they thought about it, if they were happy about it. And this is what the Ghanaian youth had to say about youth in governance. Let's look at it, and then when we get back, the discussion will continue.
I'm Priska Moinonomaboro.
My name is Jerry.
Sandra.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Elisa.
My name is Jude Watimongo.
So I'm Mamieki Akwansa.
Garage Boa.
Kekeli.
My name is Emmanuel.
I'm Brown Collins.
My name is Aaron.
I'm Joshua.
I think there are a whole lot of youths around who are yearning to be educated but are not having the financial background. So I think the youth minister could at least give scholarship to those students to be educated, which will help the progress of this nation.
Oh, for now, we have witnessed a lot through the ex-president. But for the youth minister, let me say MP, they have to supposed to help the youth because they will complete school, they will be in the house, they have their degree, no work, no job anywhere or any help coming from. So let's take it as, for now, the new elected youth minister has to do something reasonable. Like, let's take it that for the sports, he has to help them, and maybe petty activities concerning the youth. He has to check all those things. Business, he has to check all those things, because most of the graduate youth, they are in the house still, doing nothing in the house. And now some are becoming criminals, weed smokers, and doing a lot of gambling in the country. And that thing too is not helping us.
For my suggestion, as they are also youth, and I've been in our shoes before, we are expecting them that as they have gotten also the opportunity to head various ministries, they should take that one as an opportunity to help create more jobs for the youth. Imagine that you have completed school, staying with your parents in the house, throughout all the suffering and then the money they've spent for you during the education and everything that you did. After that, you are in the house with them, expecting them to provide other things. And no, it doesn't make sense. And with it, it's not good at all. You yourself, you won't feel okay. So I'm saying that they should take this one as an opportunity to create jobs, as they are also like us. They have been in our shoes before and they are in a youthful period. They should take this one as an opportunity to create more jobs for the youth so that we can also benefit from it.
I think one thing young people can start doing is being honest and living to their values. I think once you get power, it can corrupt you, and you would like to follow through the steps of so many fallen leaders that are older than us that have squandered money, have been corrupt. I come from Uganda, and there's a huge example of corrupt people over there. And one thing I would love young people in Ghana to do is to be the shining example of integrity and leadership across the nation, so that our countries like Uganda can look up to you and also look for change.
And I'm glad like the youth are in positions of power now. They know how the youth is suffering to get jobs. So all I want them to do is to make jobs available for the youth so that we don't go and do any bad thing to get money.
You see, in this country, the country has spoiled already. And for them to choosing a new people for us in this country, they have to do something better for us, the youth, because we cried a lot and we are still waiting for a new job. We are not getting any job now, and there's still more opportunity for them to do, so that we, the youth, we will get something better to do, because our life is not all that good for us as we are on the street.
We can start with employment, creating employment opportunities for the coming youth like us, right? But some of us are into journalism, and some are also studying law and things, trying to become better people. But then what's the use of it all if we don't finish and then get jobs to do? So yeah, he can start by creating jobs for us, the up and coming ones. And then other than that, there are a lot of things he can actually do for us. So yeah.
Okay, first of all, I just want to emphasize on how education has been and the youth has involved in parliament. Due to that, I think it will empower other youth to involve themselves in education, and this will have a positive impact on the youth. And aside that, I think youth are very energetic, and when it comes to rounds of the democracy as a policy, I think because of their age are very less and they have so much of energy, this can input more effort into our system. And when it happens to that, I think there will be a smoothness running in our democracy. The changes that they can bring on board is, first, let's say we are having the aged, let me use that word maybe in a quote, we're having the aged, and now we have the youth. Now the youth knows how struggling other people on the street are going through. So in terms of job creation, in terms of let's say availability in the parliament, I think the youth might bring all this, because there will be a day, let's say they will call the MP. The MP is not feeling well because of his age. He might not be feeling well, but because the youth are there, they will always be punctual. They will be available in the parliament. I think it will help the youth and also the country as well.
Okay, so you heard what happened on the street. Most of them are Ghanaians, but I think I chanced on a gentleman from Uganda and then another country as well. So it's not just about Ghanaians saying the things that they want, but it's about Africa's vision. And they were quite excited about the fact that, okay, there's the youth are also, given the government's positions and all, that not to rule, but they also had issues. They were feeling that, okay, now that there's the youth in governance, they should fully grasp what they are going through. I think Sarah mentioned that earlier. She was saying that, okay, because they're youth, they are closer to the problem. They know where it hurts even more and how to go out with it. Let me take your your take on the submissions that we got on the street. You also realize that they are more concerned about bread and butter issues. It must augur well. There must be employment. There must be education, and these are the areas that they were looking at. Sarah, did you hear your people on the street, and what do you have to say about that?
Indeed, I heard them. I think what stood out most is that, number one, the youth are hoping that those who have been privileged to be in these positions in the name of the youth, number one, they will have principles. They will have principles which they work, and that they will not be corrupted. I heard that word. Yes, power can corrupt. So personally, it is important for me that our youth that have actually gone into leadership now undergo a self-growth process of a mindset change. That personally, I am not comfortable when the word power is used. They are in power. We have been given a position of power. It's a position of service. That mindset that I am here to serve the people, my actions should benefit the people directly. Our youth should actually bring their minds to that fact. And then also, there's the element of unemployment. So my other bit that it is also my personal expectation that the newly appointed persons will not be, we call them armchair CEOs. Armchair CEOs, you will not come to the office and sit from 9 to 5, just sitting in the office, signing documents and all of that. I am hoping that they would go out, they would get in touch with the people and know exactly what the challenges are. Because some of the people even have the ideas, they have the solutions, but they don't have the resources or the position to make it happen. So I'm hoping that these are new leaders who get hands-on. So in terms of unemployment, for example, I always keep thinking, even the youth that are looking for jobs, what is our state of mind? That are we only looking for office jobs, white-collar jobs? Because when you look around, I read the story of a young man, I think Kenyan or Rwandese, that is now the biggest pepper farmer. Okay, and yes, he got some support, invested in pepper, a regular red habanero, and he's now importing pepper from Africa to China.
Wow.
So I think this the place our own mindset gets to. That when we are talking about unemployment, we should stop looking beyond. Government cannot employ everybody. So even as a youth, we should start looking at the hands-on things we can do, the practical, the TVET, and this idea that those who did not make it to university are the ones who go to the technical, vocational, and educational schools. Look, I had the case of a gentleman recently that told me that he migrated to Germany. He migrated from Ghana to Germany. And the one thing he's regretting now is that he didn't have a handy training, like either maybe a welder or a carpenter or a plumber that can fix things before migrating. So even for those who have given up on the country or the continent and want to go away, we are looking at manual and so I hope that our new actually get out of their comfortable zone, which is their offices, and get on the ground, talk to farmers, have stakeholder engagement, speak to field institutions for donor partnerships that can train the youth in work that they can do for themselves and not to sit around and engage in vices. So the bottom line is there should be integrity and principles as our people take on a new task. A set of service should be at the front of their minds, and they should get hands-on and get more practical, because now there's more money and enhancements in technical and vocational education than mainstream activities.
All right. Real quick, we're pressed for time. So Bismarck, I'm going to take this as your last word, sort of your take on the VOSP that we just watched.
So again, it's a balance between expectations from the people and then the capacity of the leaders to fulfill those expectations. And so as young leaders, the more they prepare themselves, the more they receive mentorship, the more they pursue their own personal, professional development to be able to serve, the better they are in a position to do that. Now, what I would want to see to government about this appointment is, as much as we are relying on the young people to take the opportunity and make something meaningful out of it, the appointing authority shouldn't just leave these young people alone, that I have appointed you, now just go and do. There should be intentional and deliberate activities that help them to become better, to succeed. So if they are not already attached mentors, this should be done. Regular evaluation, regular meeting with them, guidance. It is very important. It's not enough to just appoint them and leave them. If not, their mess, excuse my language, will become the mess of the appointing authority, and then it affects the livelihood of everybody. Unfortunately, for this government, the expectation is so high that they don't have room to fail. And so the government, the appointing authority should take care of this and then prepare the leaders as they serve in their capacities.
Great. Thank you so much. Oh, how I wish that this conversation would continue. I'm sure that would have some discussions later, but thank you so much, Bismarck Tay, a leadership expert, and then Seram Amakpa Azasu, multilingual international relations and diaspora engagement specialist. And we actually just touched on, or just scratched the surface of in government in Africa. This is the usership or thought series in governance or Africa here, where we look at the role of the youth. Where is Africa going? Are you tagging along with it? Is Africa ready to take over the world? Starting with leadership. We don't want bosses, we want leaders. Now, let us start with you. Change of mindset is a change of everything. Thank you so much for joining us today on Wake Up Africa. Tomorrow, we're going to come towering it down into the weekend. It's going to be Friday, more music, more conversations. You want to get on our social media handles, you want to like, share, and drop comments, and you want to stay glued to Dominion TV and enjoy all other programs. My name is Precious Biadala. I'll see you tomorrow.
Watching Dominion TV, Africa's Christian lifestyle network for inspired and empowered living.
Prayer is a daily necessity for daily triumph.
My experience was amazing.
I never believed I'll be able to do this. Dominion TV's Emerging Leaders program has taught me skills about marketing in a corporate setting.
My name is Danny Glover, and you're watching
Dominion TV.
You know, as I congratulate and celebrate every father across the nations of the world, I wrote this book some couple of years ago entitled The Father Factor. It takes a lot to be a father. You must have the understanding and the revelation in order for you to be an effective father, to become a father. A father is something you become. It's not automatic. You go through process in life to become a father. I believe that this book will educate you, enlighten you, illuminate the eyes of your understanding for you to appreciate the father factor. It's not easy. It's a tough job. And you never cease. You become a grandfather. Then you become a great-grandfather, because God is a God of transgeneration. He wants this legacy of fatherhood to continue from one generation to another generation. As challenging, tough, and difficult as it is to be a father, you were born to be that father. Don't be afraid. Rise to the occasion. Be that father. It is in you to become a father.
Understanding the Father Factor by Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. Order today on Amazon or at the Dominion Bookshop, ACI Prayer Cathedral, Accra, Ghana.
We just go around just making statements that are not even biblical. God reveals to redeem. It's not in the Bible. God reveals so we can walk, so we can enforce the word of God and the scriptures over the enemy's intent. Any hope and expectation the enemy has concerning your family and your loved one, by the eternal blood of Jesus, we override that hope. We override that expectation. Put your hands together and override it.
The Voice of Inspiration, weekdays and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. only on Dominion TV.
It's good to be with you again. Thanks for tuning in. Enforcing the Prophetic is one of my latest books, part 2, that I believe will impact your life. I was talking